victim blaming. I know that my subscribers won't, because you are not that type of person, but just anybody who may come across this video, I want you to remember that at one point you were a child too. And as kids, we do extreme, ridiculous, irrational stuff. The kids just don't have that part of their brain developed yet. So it's very, very, very important that we remember our victim and treat her with kindness. This story shows you why, as adults, it's so important for us to look out for children and protect them. You know, because we have parts of our brain that they don't. But like I said, there will be absolutely no victim blaming to our victim. And I just, my God, my heart already just rest in peace. So, our black Tesla is sitting in the Hollywood Hills, abandoned, hasn't moved. I did see some reports, conflicting reports, I should say, that some neighbors were saying the car did have a smell and that's why it was towed. I also saw some reports saying that they noticed the car and it hadn't moved and that's why it was towed. And then I saw reports saying altogether it's just how parking enforcement works in California. Something that you will notice with this story is there is so much conflicting stories. I think too it's still ongoing, so as time progresses we will get more concrete details. But all we know is the car was sitting in the Hollywood Hills and then it was towed. So at the Hollywood tow, employees were inspecting the car and they caught a whiff of a foul odor. And somebody alerted the police. The police came out, and to remind you, this is a Tesla, so the trunk is in the front of the car, and they call it a frunk. And so the police come and they open the frunk, and that is when they made the horrifying discovery that a body was wrapped in plastic trash bags and stuffed in this tiny little trunk. And as the police are investigating, the car is registered in Texas, and the car is registered to a rising music star named David, and it's spelled D4vd, but his government is David Anthony Burke, again known to fans as David. So some days had passed and they had not been able to identify the victim that was found in the trunk. I did read reports saying that the body was so badly decomposed that they could not identify. All they knew for some time was that it was a female, and then as time progressed they were able to kind of mark out an age. There were some identifying factors of our victim when they were discovered. There was a tattoo on their finger that said shh. It's a very, very popular tattoo. Even Rihanna has this tattoo, and I think that she is the one who, you know, made it a little famous. But besides that, there was kind of a while, I remember watching reports when they just weren't able to identify the victim. But the Los Angeles County medical examiner later confirmed the remains belonged to 15-year-old Celeste, who had been missing since April of 2024. And actually, her mom had went to TMZ after this information came out and was like, this sounds like my daughter that has been missing since 2024. And she told police that because they said that the victim had a sh tattoo, which is SHHH, and I think 3 periods. She said, yeah, my daughter had a red sh tattoo on her finger, and they had she had gone missing once before, but that time she returned home safely. This time, she never came back. Her victim, Celeste, her home life wasn't easy. Friends described her as restless and often clashing with family members and longing for independence. Her mother later claimed Celeste had spoken about a boyfriend named David. Was she referring to the singer? Was she just referring to some random guy that her daughter was talking to? Investigators haven't said, but to me, like, hello, the math is not mathing, and it's just a little too coincidental in my opinion. I did read reports that she didn't have a good home life, like I told you, like she was getting into it with her family. She's talking to somebody. I don't know if it's this singer, I don't know if it's somebody she met, but there's obviously a reason why a young girl, you know, is acting like this, behaving like this. So while Celeste was missing, David's career soared. His hit romantic homicide and Here With Me dominated TikTok in 2022. When I first heard of this case, I was like, oh my god, like I've never heard of this singer. I'm just getting old. Like, I'm not hip and with it, but actually, like, I had his song, Here With Me is literally so popular. I just never realized who sung it. And in 2025, he debuted his album Withered, and as all of this is unfolding, he's on tour. He actually canceled the tour, I want to say yesterday or the day before, but even when this body was found in his trunk, he was still going on tour. He was still performing. I believe the last concert he had was in Seattle, and then he called it quits. Girl, like, I'm so sorry, but it's not looking good. Like, I get it. These celebrities have teams to handle, you know, if the car's stolen, if his house gets broken into. Like, I don't expect a tour to be canceled for situations like that. But we're talking about a real human being found in your car. And when this first dropped, this whole story, people were saying, oh, well, his car was stolen, and, you know, yada. So it makes you think, like, okay, like, your car's stolen, someone who stole it did this. But that's not the case. His car was never reported stolen. It was just abandoned. So you just, like, I'm so sorry, but I have a hard time understanding. And to me, that is when, in my mind, the alarm bells started ringing, because there's a body in your car and you're just like, oh, you know. And now they do say that David is cooperating with this investigation and with police, but we don't know to what extent he's cooperating, girl. Like, that can mean anything. In the court of public opinion, it's not looking good for David. So, a quiet, enigmatic figure in interviews. You know, he's hailed as this musical prodigy. He has trending songs on TikTok. He's going on tour. All of these really big things for a career. And now his name is linked to this case, to this crime scene. Tesla is been abandoned in Hollywood for nearly 5 days before being towed. Then it's towed, and then that means that Celeste's body may have been inside this entire time undetected. But her journey to that car started long before, you know, this hit the front page of the news, this hit TikTok. She person database. You know, she's disappeared before, but this time she's gone for much longer, you know, and in the end she'd never be seen alive again. I'm sorry, but as a parent, there's just no way that I could let my child be missing like this. Like, I would be scorching the earth to find my baby. No question about that. Like, point blank, period. And so it was so shocking to me not to just hear that this young girl was missing, but to then come find out that she had been missing for such a long time. Like, are you kidding me? So I kind of want to touch on David's music. To some fans, the darkest part of this case isn't even the discovery of a body, of a child's body. It's the unsettling way the themes in David's music seem to echo our victim's fate. His breakout track, Romantic Homicide, first of all, interesting title, but okay, I digress, tells the story of heartbreak and the violent end of love. Another fan favorite, Here With Me, the title, describes longing for someone who is absent, almost like singing to a ghost. And if you listen to the lyrics of this song and think about Celeste, who, when she was found, would have been 15, it is absolutely jarring. So I am going to read you the lyrics of Here With Me by David. I'm just going to read you a snippet so you can get an idea. But it says, I don't care how long it takes, as long as I'm with you, I've got a smile on my face. Save your tears, it'll be okay, yeah, with me. I don't care how long it takes. Let's remember that our victim, when she was found, she would have been 15. I believe she died, or they discovered her body a day before her birthday. So that means that would have meant that she passed when she was 14. David, the singer, is 20. He was born March 28th, 2005. Disgusting. We're already moving in a very disgusting direction. And that's the thing about this case, is even if by some happenstance, some divine intervention, he did not commit this crime, he is still guilty of conducting a relationship with a minor. Because to me, you cannot describe, you cannot like describe this away, because there is photographic evidence of them being together. I don't mean like in a relationship wise, but I mean at least physically, like together. So like harboring a minor that is a runaway, like having a relationship with a minor in some form or fashion, like I said, even if he somehow did not commit this crime, you are still guilty, because this is a child. And I want people to remember that. Like, that is the most heartbreaking part of the story, is this was a child, and David is a grown man. Going back to the lyrics, for some listeners, these lyrics now feel less like art and more like a window into something sinister, even when you listen to the lyrics of Romantic Homicide. Let me bring receipts. I'm going to read you the lyrics of Romantic Homicide. So, in the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry, no, not a single tear, and I'm sick of waiting patiently for someone that won't even arrive. In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. Do I love you? No, I hate you. So, like, once you read those lyrics, like, I know, like, that's heavy, that's something, and then to have songs that say stuff like that, And now you're in the middle of this case. And I'm speaking as if we're David. Like, it's not looking good. I don't know what would possess somebody to move like that. Even online, theories swirled that his songs weren't just creative writing outlets and ways to express himself and express, creativity, but a reflection of real relationships and real secrets. It's just jarring when you read those lyrics because you can feel something. Even to say, "Do I love you? No, I hate you." Like, that to me is strong. But even beyond his music, the internet speculates about motives. If he was truly involved, why would a rising star risk everything? Theories would suggest obsession, David, an adult, a grown man, his unhealthy fixation on a vulnerable runaway because Celeste was 15 or even worse, like 14 and younger at the time of them interacting. His reputation to fear of relationships with a minor being exposed, leading to desperate choices. I've even read some speculations of her being pregnant. That would be huge for that to come out. One, because he's a very public figure, and two, she's a child. For that to come out would be career ending. And then we have, to me, what could be the biggest, which is control. It's talked about so much when it comes to celebrities and their fans, that power imbalance, the ability to manipulate and isolate and ultimately silence someone too young to defend herself. And in my mind, I understand, because it doesn't seem like her family, I'm not saying that they weren't looking for her, but even now coming out, I've only ever seen a few Facebook posts, and her brother even came out and was talking to news sources and saying, like, yeah, we told the police about David and that he was dangerous. So to me, if you know that your sister or family member, whatever, your daughter is hanging out with a grown man and you know that he's dangerous, what is stopping you? Again, none of this is proven, but online speculation, people look for meaning in everything. A post, an Instagram caption, a lyric, like a profile picture, because she was a Hello Kitty lover. Even in her missing persons description, it said that she was wearing Hello Kitty something, and David has been seen in photographs, and his profile pictures on social media have been Hello Kitty. I believe his TikTok profile picture was Hello Kitty bloodied with a bandage around her eyes. I know that the blood and the bandages are imagery to describe his music because he uses it a lot, but Hello Kitty is free and childlike, so to take that and kind of reassemble it in a different gory way, I don't know, you're telling me something, you're saying something to me, and now I'm picking up on it. Again, a lot of this is theories. When things like this happen, we want to understand, we want to know why, we want answers. But there's just so much involving this case that cannot be explained away. But what we do know, what is fact, is that David's car was towed. Celeste, 15-year-old baby girl Celeste, was found in the trunk, and somebody has some explaining to do. Like I said, seeing who they talk to, seeing what kind of moves they make, because, you know, a guilty person is going to, okay, see that, yeah, now the police are watching me, they've questioned me, I'm gonna do these things. So there's so much in this case, and like I said, it is still evolving. As of, I think, yesterday, which would have been the 18th, Thursday, or maybe the day before, they did finally secure a search warrant for the residence that David was staying at, and they did end up taking evidence out. I believe I read that they were looking for blood evidence, and they ended up leaving with stuff. Again, we don't know quite yet what they found. Yeah, so I don't know. In the court of public opinion, I'm looking like I'm starting my needle's moving to guilty. It's just too much of a coincidence. There's too many things. There's just so much, so many avenues and things in play that I really haven't seen anything like this before. This was my first time really diving deep and really investigating, investigating anything. So if I left out some pieces, I'm so sorry. I tried to stick to the core and stick to facts and things that we know for sure are true. Obviously throwing in some theories and some online talk in there as well, but I really tried to stick to the meat and potatoes and the things that, you know, we know for a fact. As the days go on, more information will come out, so hopefully, you know, we get more answers. I just, at this point, I really want Celeste to rest in peace, and I want justice to be brought upon anybody, whoever committed this disgusting, heinous crime. And at the end of the day, I have some questions for her mother. You know, if when time goes on, if you'd like me to continue to cover this, if there's something else that